Orochimaru is the scariest villain in all of Naruto. I mean, the dude checks out all the boxes of a villain out perfectly. He's powerful, intelligent, scary, cunning, and he's a pedo. But for real, the man had so much more potential than what he ended up getting. The dude got hoed, but today we're going to be changing all of that and making sure that Orochimaru will end up being the big bad of the series. So if you want to find out how this version of Naruto unfolds, stick around to the end and smash the like button to help your boy out with the algorithm, since it hasn't been treating me too nicely recently. That said, enjoy.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
My stories almost always start off in the same place. The attack of the Nine Tails, the masked man incident, you guys get the drill. But today, I'm going to be switching things up because it's not going to start there. It's actually going to be starting right after Naruto and Sasuke would have had their final confrontation in the Valley of the End when they were 12 to 13 years old. Sasuke would have just left and made his way towards Orochimaru, and we're going to be switching our point of view to Kabuto. Now, Kabuto would simply have to watch as Orochimaru would begin to pretty much start flipping stuff over and kicking things all over the place, angry at the fact that his arms quite yet haven't been healed and that he's been having to switch from body to body to body just to stay alive. Orochimaru has been getting more angrier by the second, and he's getting more and more desperate to find the immortality jutsu, and not only that, but to actually fix the ability to actually use his hands, weave hand signs, and do everything that he would have had before Hiruzen used the Death Reaper seal jutsu on his arms. So Orochimaru, as at this moment, is kind of freaking out until Kabuto would inform him Sasuke has made it. And once Orochimaru heals this, he would finally stop for a moment as he would look back to Kabuto's direction, smile, and then begin to train Sasuke. Now, everything that Sasuke would have learned during this time would stick just like it would be in the original, but this time around we're actually going to be changing quite a few elements of the story. Number one, the Akatsuki are not going to be the main villains, and they're not going to be hunting down the Jinchurikis just like they would have been in the original. This time around, they were only hunting Naruto when they were trying to, because they were pretty much tasked to do so by Orochimaru, who was trying to get his hands on the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Because as of lately, Orochimaru has been doing a little bit of tinkering with some formulas and some basic jutsu, things, right? Like things that we wouldn't really understand. But for plot's sake, let's just say that the reason that Orochimaru wants to capture Naruto is because Orochimaru knows of a jutsu that would give him immortality. However, it is massive when it comes to how much chakra one needs to output. You would need the chakra of 1 through 8 through 7 tails to do this jutsu, or you could use the 9-tailed Biju and get it done immediately. Not even the 8 tails Jinchuriki would be able to give you enough chakra required to use this jutsu. So that should just tell you guys already, okay, this is real. Orochimaru truly does need the Jinchuriki, and he does. Like it's really important to this. So Orochimaru has been pretty much fiddling around with formulas and stuff like that, and through experimentation found a jutsu that could potentially give him real immortality. He'll never be able to switch bodies again, and he could finally transform into Sasuke and wield the Sharingan for himself. However, for now, I want Orochimaru to still have the Sharingan, but I want him to have it in a body that is high in chakra. So we're going to be saying that around this time, Orochimaru would have stolen a high chakra level body of a, let's say, of a person such as not him, somebody with some random character, right? Like let's just make some filler character, and Orochimaru steals the body and he implants the Sharingan inside of him. Then using the transformation jutsu, Orochimaru would be able to look just like himself, right? However, What this does is it pretty much shortens the span of time that Orochimaru can stay in each vessel. So he would only have a certain amount of time to try to train Sasuke and get Sasuke to get to the level of which he needs him to achieve in order to finally steal Sasuke's body. And as of this moment, Naruto and the other team would have gone over to the Konoha, where they would have simply tested their own abilities. Since this time around the Akatsuki aren't after the tailed beast, I'm going to be saying that the Kazekage retrieval mission never actually ends up happening, and because of that, Naruto never has to go over, and Gaara never dies, Lady Chiho never sacrifices herself, and we lose out on a big fight. However, instead we just get that replaced with a random filler mission in which Naruto gains a little bit more strength and experience during, and would actually end up finding out that the Akatsukis are mercenaries. During that 3-year journey time skip that Naruto would have had with Jiraiya, he would have spent that entire time training, learning basic jutsus, mastering the Rasengan so that he could actually use it with one hand, because let's be honest, I really want Naruto to be able to do that sooner than he does in the original, but Naruto's able to do that, and Naruto would actually have a lot more of an adaptability to battles and learning as he fights this time around, because he would have just worked that much harder. But however, we would still end up having Team 7 catching wind of Sasuke's location and where his base is, and this time around we would still have Naruto, Sakura, and Sai, as well as Yamato, go after him. However, the one change that I will be making to the story this time around is when Sasuke would be about to light him up with the Chidori, Orochimaru would be the one to stop him. However, not because he wants them to capture the Akatsuki, but because he needs the Jinchuriki to stay alive. And so Sasuke and Orochimaru would end up leaving, and it would be at this point that in the original, Orochimaru would have started getting really sick, and Sasuke normally would have ended up being the one to kill him. However, this time around, I'm going to be saying that things actually play out a little bit more differently, because I don't think that that's exactly what I want to have happen here, and because of that, I'm going to be saying that Sasuke is going to be postponing trying to kill Orochimaru. Instead, he's actually going to be trying to go after his brother much sooner than the original. And because the Akatsuki still would have been in the land of fire and Asuma's team would have still had that encounter, I'm going to be saying that they still lose Asuma and that battle still happens. However, Jiraiya's mission to go after Pain does not, I repeat, does not happen, because this timeline will actually be changing that. Or Jiraiya is going to get to live longer and actually be around when Naruto gets to learn Sage Mode, which is actually going to be the cool part. Not to mention, he's going to be one of the people helping Naruto learn the Rasen Shuriken, which is the jutsu that he would end up learning to get more and more powerful, eventually jumping on to trying to learn Sage Mode, and Jiraiya would actually end up mastering that ability alongside Naruto. Now, it's here where things slightly begin to look similar, because this time around, since the Akatsukis are higher mercenaries, they have to be paid a huge amount of money, right? And their leader is actually going to be Nagato. I'm going to be like completely getting rid of that whole thing with Obito and how he was the masked man and all that stuff. And I'm just going to be saying Toby is Toby. He's just a goofball that can phase in and out of stuff. And that whole like Toby thing, it's gone. Just pretend that it never happened. That's what we're going to be doing for the sake of Orochimaru's villainhood, right? And what we're going to be replacing that with is Orochimaru's wanting to take over, Naruto, Sasuke, and him wanting to gain immortality via using the 9 tails that Naruto has, right? And that's pretty much going to be the whole like thing that we're going to be looking at, because in reality, if we really would have stopped to think about things, Orochimaru was after immortality. We know that. And the reason that he attacked Konoha was because Hiruzen was kind of going to get in the way of his plans. The Chunin exams was coming up. It was a bit of a win-win situation. He could get rid of Konoha early so that they could not impede his plans. Not to mention, he kind of wanted to get Sasuke, and that was just the best time. So Orochimaru did what he had to do, and thus we ended up having the Chunin exams arc, which was as awesome as it was, right? But what pretty much ends up happening now is we end up getting a different scene, right? Because this time around, Naruto would end up actually using the Rasen Shuriken on Kakazu still, because they killed one of their members, and Hidan would still get killed by Shikamaru. However, when they don't return, the Akatsuki's not like, oh, let's get revenge. No, they're just like, oh well, they were too weak, and they continue doing their mercenary like jobs. This time around, I'm gonna be saying that Itachi still was a good older brother, and Sasuke still tries to go after and fight him, and the battle pretty much goes just like it does in canon. However, ladies and gentlemen, it's here that things begin to take a change, because this time around, Sasuke would have ended up pretty much facing off against Itachi, and once the battle was over, he never finds out the truth. He continues believing that his brother was evil, and after having defeating him, Orochimaru would take him back to his base to get healed. However, when Sasuke wakes up, I'm gonna be saying that Sasuke would attempt to actually pretty much kill Orochimaru once he gets safe, and we would end up having a real battle this time, not something where Orochimaru is sick and he can't fight back and he's completely defensive, but this time we actually get a really awesome battle in which Orochimaru is able to showcase more of the jutsus that he hasn't taught Sasuke, and he would tell him, "I taught you well, Sasuke, but I didn't teach you everything," as he would use multiple jutsus that would catch Sasuke completely off guard, and when Sasuke would try to use his intelligence and finesse in battle, Orochimaru, knowing how Sasuke fights, would be able to parry and get out of the way, ultimately leading to Sasuke being the loser of this battle. Orochimaru would win and would end up actually restricting Sasuke's chakra paths and locking him up in one of his chambers so Sasuke can't escape. Now, as of this current moment, Naruto and the gang are currently trying to save Sasuke. However, Orochimaru is trying to speed up his plan as much as possible. And then this would be the reason why Pain would attack Naruto. And we're still going to be saying that Pain is comprised of Nagato and, things like that. So Pain is still going to be attacking the Hidden Leaf Village. However, this time around, the whole attack is going to go a lot different. And let me tell you guys, a lot different. Because Naruto's going to be having Jiraiya there with him. He's not going to be dead, and Jiraiya is actually going to survive. Spoiler alert, right? And what would end up happening is we end up getting a really, really cool scene where Jiraiya just activates Sage Mode. Naruto does as well. And they both just get down to business. I mean, they start fighting. Jiraiya would end up breaking down 2 paths of pain. Naruto would get sent flying by the Diva path. Naruto creates multiple shadow clones, fire styles, wind styles, and Naruto would come in, Rasen Shuriken, gun blazing, Jiraiya using multiple jutsus as well, and Hinata would even step in and have a really cool moment where she confesses her love to Naruto. This time, I want Naruto to understand, just because, bro, like she's right there in front of you, bro. I can't, right? But after this, they would ultimately be able to defeat all of the paths of pain until they get to the last one, the Diva path, the most by far powerful one. We would get to a point where Jiraiya starts getting hurt badly and rods start getting stabbed into him, right? And we know how Naruto reacts when others get hurt, right? Naruto goes ballistic. The dude goes absolutely wild and proceeds to tap into the powers of the 7 out of the 9 tails, right? And eventually he has the scene where he meets his father and everything would be going really, really good, right? But once we get here, things would slightly begin to change, because Naruto would have Jiraiya fighting down against Pain, as Pain is trying to just pretty much restrain Naruto, who's going crazy at the moment. And with Naruto going crazy and Jiraiya trying to pretty much fight the Diva path at the same time, the Diva path would struggle a lot more with containing Naruto. However, because the Jibaku Tensei is a jutsu that needs no control after it's casted, I'm going to be saying that everything happens just like canon. Naruto lands having pretty much found out who he is, meeting his father, and having just a moment of awakening within himself, as Naruto ends up pretty much going back down, helping Jiraiya face off against the path of pain, ultimately defeating him, and both of them tracing the rod back to its roots, getting Nagato to actually confess everything, and Jiraiya having a really cool moment in which he would get to see his old students again and ask them where he went wrong. They would tell him that they needed money and that, this world is corrupt, so they became corrupted as well to survive in it, right? And Jiraiya is forced to ultimately have to end the students that he created. Just like when Orochimaru said, "Should I kill them?" That scene replays in Jiraiya's head, and he thinks to himself, "Maybe I should have let you kill them, Orochimaru." As from here, they're both forced to face off against them, but more specifically, they have to fight against Konan, who would lose immediately to 2 Sage Mode users, and Nagato, would die, just because it would be too hard for Nagato to keep up this level of combat for too long. So, he ultimately ends up dying, and what we would end up actually having to deal with from here on out would actually be a different set of things, right? Because now Sasuke's trapped, and they just defeated Pain, and now Jiraiya is actually alive, right? But it would be here that things slightly begin to change, right? Because I want things to actually not work the way that they were in the original, right? I want things to be a lot different, right? I think that what would be awesome would be a 2v2 battle. Naruto and Jiraiya versus Orochimaru and Sasuke. And I think that the way that I'm going to have this done is via Genjutsu. Now, the way that this is going to be working is that I want Orochimaru to figure out a way or some sort of deal or something with Sasuke in which Sasuke is forced to ultimately have to face off against Naruto and Jiraiya, even though his goal has already been accomplished, just because Orochimaru is holding all the cards, and Sasuke just has no other choice, right? And mid-battle, we would probably have some cool moment in which Sasuke tries to tell Naruto this and he understands, but ultimately they wouldn't be able to save him because Orochimaru and Sasuke would win. And I just see such a cool battle playing out in my head. The way that I think that this would start would be obviously, they meet somewhere with Jiraiya taking intel, and it would be probably 2 weeks worth of Naruto and Jiraiya traveling. They would have these really cool looking cloaks on, and they would end up ultimately finding the base. They would break in, and Orochimaru would be working on some experiment, and the scene would be something like Orochimaru dodging a kunai, which would be thrown at him by Naruto, and saying, "I knew you were coming, Sasuke," as Sasuke pretty much reveals himself, and Naruto would say, "This time it's gonna be different, Sasuke." And Sasuke looks at him, but this time not with the same look of hatred, but just with the look of he doesn't want to do this. And Naruto wonders to himself, what? He's just wondering to himself what's going on, right? But regardless, Sasuke has to rush in using a sword and pretty much trying to cut Naruto down. But Naruto, taking out 2 kunais, he would coat them in his wind style and pretty much face off against Sasuke. And Jiraiya would begin fighting hand-to-hand combat against Orochimaru with Sage Mode activated, as Orochimaru would begin being on the back foot, and eventually we would get to a point where Jiraiya says that he's finally surpassed Orochimaru. But Orochimaru would smirk and say, "Have you?" as he activates the Sharingan for the very, very first time, and it would be here that Orochimaru would begin getting the ultimate upper hand on, Jiraiya. The 3 Tomoe Sharingan would be more than enough to completely outclass him, and we would have to be forced to pretty much watch as Jiraiya loses his life to Orochimaru, and Naruto would be completely helpless to stop it, because he would be in a clash of fists with Sasuke, who was absolutely not giving him a second to breathe. Naruto was struggling, and he literally has to watch as Orochimaru would pretty much kill Jiraiya in the most gruesome way possible. I think that a cool death for Jiraiya would be burn death, like finally a fire style jutsu does something, right? And Orochimaru pretty much just destroys Jiraiya and he dies. And from here, Orochimaru looks at the direction of Naruto, and he's ready to pounce and finally take the Nine Tails Kyuubi, saying some lines along the lines of "It looks like I didn't have to go hunting for you. I thank you, Naruto, because now my dreams will become a reality." As Naruto will have somebody come into the place, right? We would have Kakashi, who was pretty much sent as backup on this mission, and Kakashi would end up jumping in and pretty much having to stay there, right? And being like, "Naruto, get out of here. If he gets what he wants, we all lose," right? And Naruto literally has to leave his sensei behind. Think about how cool that would have been. It also would have been very sad, because it's we don't want Kakashi to lose, but Kakashi versus Orochimaru, a fight that was pretty much foreshadowed in OG Naruto, the moment when he tried to take Sasuke and Kakashi was willing to lay his life on the line for him, right? This is just such a cool battle for me, but because they both have the Sharingan, it's no match, I'm sorry. And Kakashi would try his best, but ultimately he would only be able to buy enough time for Naruto to reverse summon himself to Mount Miyaboku and finally back to the village. village, where Naruto would be breathing heavily and wondering what in the world he's gonna do, because Orochimaru as of this moment is now so powerful that Naruto had no idea how to stop him. He killed Jiraiya in front of him, and Naruto not only has to worry about that and the depression that comes with that, but he has to wonder about what's up with Sasuke. It didn't even look like Sasuke wanted to be there, right? And Naruto starts thinking to himself, oh, I'm gonna save Sasuke, Jiraiya would have wanted this, yada yada yada. But ultimately Sasuke and Orochimaru would finally get the body switch to happen. And with Sasuke being in control of with Orochimaru being in control of Sasuke's body, and a very well Sasuke at that, who has the eyes of Itachi implanted into him, would be unstoppable. With the arsenal of Orochimaru, the Sharingan of Sasuke, and his arms completely in perfect condition, with Orochimaru having at least a year to pretty much try to get Naruto and trying to pretty much take him so he can finally become perfect and immortal, we would have such a cool moment in which Naruto is like struggling with what he should do. Lady Tsunade sends him off on some sort of like a 1 year, like a half a month training journey, and I'm gonna be saying that Lee goes with him, and Naruto works on his physical stamina and stats, and I want him to kind of learn like all the way to like the third gate in terms of like gates and stuff like that. Naruto like relearns how to do taijutsu from Lee, and like he basically has to like just he forcibly has to get it's like one of those like very traditional anime time skips in which Naruto is just forced to become stronger via him wanting to bring Sasuke back. But ultimately, once he finally encounters Sasuke again, I think that it would be all in vain, considering that Sasuke would already be taken over by Orochimaru, and because Itachi's never coming back, that's it. Sasuke would be way too powerful, and when I say Sasuke, I mean Orochimaru. But Sasuke would finally end up finding Naruto, and we would have a very one-sided battle in which Orochimaru's new abilities and new body would be too overwhelming for Naruto. Naruto using Sage Mode and even trying to use KCM because Kurama would begrudgingly try to give it to him just not to be captured by Orochimaru would still not be enough to defeat him. And Orochimaru using all of this in tandem with Sasuke's curse mark would be too much for Naruto to handle. Ultimately, Naruto would have the 9 tails ripped out of him, and with no, Minato there to try to like do anything, or no other Hokages, this would look like the end. But suddenly, Naruto wakes back up after the 9 tails had been extracted from him, and suddenly he would be resurrected with the power that he would have had after he pretty much got clapped by Madara in the original, right? But this time around it's different because Hagoromo gives it to him under different circumstances. Now the story could honestly go one of two ways here. Either I went with the path where Naruto ultimately loses and Orochimaru is ultimately the winner of this this like new reality, like different thing, or we could go with the route where the Sage of Six Paths still exists and the reincarnation process is still a thing, but there was just not really there was never no Otsutsuki god. Hagoromo just so happened to be the most powerful ninja who was a human, who was just very gifted, and he had sons and all that stuff, but no Kaguya, no Otsutsuki. I really hate that premise, but that's just me personally. But Naruto would come back with the yin and yang half of the Six Paths Sage Mode abilities, and using this would keep in mind, would actually be able to take out Orochimaru in a very heated battle in which both of them use all of their jutsus and pull out all of the stops to try to defeat each other, try to get the one up on another. But ultimately Naruto's power, speed, Six Paths Sage Mode, new gained abilities, KCM2, and all of Kurama's support would be more than enough for Orochimaru to be taken out. However, the thing with this would be that Orochimaru would, because he's just such a snake, would not truly be defeated. because I'm going to be saying that Orochimaru would be defeated, but not really, just because of how we know he is. But, you know, let's just say Naruto wins and, you know, he's finally able to take out the big bad of the series, with Naruto ultimately having to face his best friend who is being controlled by someone else and being forced to actually kill Sasuke in order to defeat Orochimaru, in which Naruto, once he lands the final blow, tears would begin coming down his face, and Orochimaru's, you know, new body would begin tearing up as well, as, you know, Naruto has to bury his old best friend and ultimately go on in life knowing that he lost both of his senseis, his best friend, and all of that would mold him into the next Hokage, a man unlike the one that we would have gotten in the original, a man that was more serious in nature, somebody that was always, you know, looking out for the next big threat, and somebody who wanted to achieve true world peace without the need of chaos or violence, somebody who wanted to do better. And that, ladies and gentlemen, would conclude what if Orochimaru was the main villain of Naruto. Let me know what you guys thought down below in the comment section. I personally loved making this what if. It was a one take what if, keep in mind. And what can I say? I couldn't be more proud of how I thought everything would go. I think that generally speaking, this what if is probably one of the best ones I've done in months, but you guys are going to be the judge of that. So, you know, if you leave a like if you like, then don't if you don't. But yeah, share the video with a friend, and it has been your boy Xehther. I'm out. Peace.